Every night at 10:30, Richard, a 66-year-old retired teacher, would sink into his recliner. The TV hummed in the background, his phone glowed in his hand, and a bowl of salty snacks sat on the table beside him. By midnight, he'd finally crawl into bed, hoping for rest. But morning after morning, Richard woke up groggy. His memory felt slower, his focus dulled, and his energy was gone before the day even began. He thought, maybe this is just aging. What Richard didn't know was this. The real problem wasn't his sleep, it was the hour before his sleep. That forgotten hour, the last 60 minutes before bed, isn't just filler time. It's a doorway. Walk through it the wrong way, and your body carries stress, tension, and restlessness into the night. Walk through it the right way, and you give your brain and heart the reset they've been craving. Most men waste this hour without realizing it. And the cost shows up the next day, in their energy, their clarity, even their heart health. But here's the truth, you don't have to accept restless nights as your new normal. Tonight, I'll show you how to reclaim that final hour, and why it may be the single most important choice you make after 60. My name is Dr. Katherine Rocker, and for more than 3 decades, I've walked alongside men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, helping them protect their memory, their focus, and their heart health. What I've learned is this: most men don't lose sleep because their bodies are broken. They lose sleep because their evenings are untrained. Their nights are filled with habits they've carried for years, habits that feel comforting, but quietly steal the deep rest they need. I've seen it in teachers, in veterans, in fathers and grandfathers. Men who thought they had to accept restless nights, morning fog, or drained energy as part of aging. But it wasn't aging, it was the way they were spending their last hour before bed. I'm not here to hand you another long list of restrictions. You don't need more rules, you need a clear guide. A simple path that allows your brain and your heart to let go of the day and reset for tomorrow. That's what we're going to explore together. Because when you learn to protect that final hour, you don't just sleep better, you wake up renewed. And after 60, that renewal can change everything. Let me tell you about Tom, a 67-year-old from Arizona. Every night, Tom followed the same routine: dinner around 8:30, then 2 hours of late-night television, sometimes with a beer in hand. He'd snack on chips, scroll through his phone, and finally drag himself to bed just past midnight. But by morning, Tom was paying the price. He'd wake up feeling like he hadn't slept at all. His wife noticed his memory was slipping, he forgot small details, repeated stories, misplaced his keys. He felt irritable, drained, and less steady on his feet. Tom thought it was just age catching up with him. But here's the truth, it wasn't age, it was the final hour of his day. That last 60 minutes before bed is not background time. It's the transition that tells your brain and heart whether they can rest or whether they need to stay on guard. When you fill it with screens, heavy food, alcohol, or stress, your body never truly powers down. It's like leaving the lights on in your house all night long. You burn energy, but you never restore. Instead of entering deep, healing sleep, your body stays restless, half awake, half asleep. And the next day, you carry the fatigue, the fog, and the strain forward. Tom's story isn't unusual. It's the reality for millions of men over 60. They mistake exhaustion for aging, when in truth, their evenings are quietly stealing tomorrow's strength. The good news? Once you understand why this happens, you can reclaim that lost hour, and with it, the clarity and energy you thought were gone for good. Now, you might wonder, why does this 1 hour matter so much, especially after 60? Here's what's happening inside your body, your brain. As the sun goes down, your brain naturally begins releasing melatonin, the hormone that tells your body, it's time to rest. But the light from a phone or TV can cut that release in half. Without enough melatonin, you may fall asleep later, wake up during the night, or miss the deep stages of sleep your memory depends on. Your heart. During deep sleep, your heart rate and blood pressure drop. This is when your cardiovascular system recovers from the day's stress. But if you fill your final hour with stimulants, heavy food, or late-night alcohol, your heart stays in daytime mode. Instead of healing, it keeps working overtime. Your hormones. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is supposed to fall at night. That drop is what helps your nervous system relax. But habits like scrolling, late-night arguments, or even worrying in bed keep cortisol high, and when cortisol is high, sleep becomes shallow, restless, and unrefreshing. That's why this hour becomes even more important after 60. Your body doesn't bounce back as quickly from disruption as it did at 30 or 40. A late-night mistake lingers longer, and its effects are felt more deeply. Think of your last hour as the runway before takeoff. A smooth runway means your body glides into deep, restorative sleep. A bumpy, chaotic runway? You take off rough, and the entire flight, your night of sleep, is unstable. The truth is, men over 60 don't just need sleep, they need quality sleep. And the quality of that sleep is decided in the final 60 minutes before bed. So what does a strong final hour look like? You don't need to overhaul your entire evening, and you don't need a complicated routine. What you need is a simple blueprint, 5 steps you can repeat night after night until they become second nature. Step 1. Unplug. About 30 to 60 minutes before bed, turn off the screens. Phones, tablets, and TVs give off blue light that tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Dim the lights instead, and let your body's natural melatonin rise. Step 2. Hydrate gently. A small glass of water helps your body reset after the day. Avoid alcohol, soda, or caffeine in this window. Those may feel relaxing in the moment, but they keep your brain and heart working long after you've closed your eyes. Step 3. Fuel wisely, only if you're hungry. If your stomach is empty, don't go to bed starving. That can wake you up at 2 a.m. Instead, choose a light protein-based snack, like a spoonful of Greek yogurt, a boiled egg, or a handful of walnuts. Just enough to steady your blood sugar through the night. Step 4. Calm the brain. This is the most overlooked step. You don't just put your body to bed, you put your mind to bed, too. Try stretching, reading a book, writing down tomorrow's to-do list, praying, or meditating. These quiet rituals tell your nervous system, it's safe to let go. Step 5. Be consistent. Go to bed around the same time each night. Your body loves rhythm. When you train your internal clock, it rewards you with easier sleep and sharper mornings. None of these steps are extreme. They don't require supplements, gadgets, or expensive solutions. But together, they work like a reset button. They prepare your brain, your heart, and your hormones for the kind of deep rest that men over 60 need most. And here's what I've seen over and over. When my patients commit to this simple bedtime blueprint, the results come quickly. Sometimes within days, their sleep is deeper, their mornings brighter, and their energy more stable. Now, let me share the story of one man who discovered just how powerful this forgotten hour could be. Robert was 69 when he first came to me. He was a proud grandfather from Texas, the kind of man who loved fishing trips with his buddies and backyard barbecues with his family. But his nights had become his biggest frustration. Robert stayed up late scrolling on his tablet, falling asleep with the TV on in the background. He often snacked before bed, sometimes a sandwich, sometimes a bowl of ice cream. By morning, he was exhausted. He'd wake up 2 or 3 times during the night, toss and turn, and drag himself through the next day. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm sleeping, but it's like my brain never shuts off. I'm tired before the day even begins." I didn't give Robert a pill. I didn't hand him a long list of rules. I asked him to try one thing: protect the last 60 minutes before bed. We built a new rhythm. He turned off his screens by 10, dimmed the lights, and did light stretches on his living room floor. If he was hungry, he had a few walnuts or a small yogurt, no more heavy snacks. He started reading a chapter of his favorite history book instead of scrolling. By 11, he was in bed, lights out. Within 2 weeks, Robert noticed the difference. He wasn't waking up 5 times a night. He was falling asleep faster, staying asleep longer, and waking up with real energy. He told me, "Doc, I didn't think sleep could feel this good at my age, but the best part?" His family noticed, too. His wife said he was laughing more. His grandkids said he had more patience and energy to play. Robert realized he hadn't just fixed his sleep, he had given himself back to the people he loved. That's what happens when you reclaim the final hour. It's not just about rest, it's about renewal. And Robert's story is proof that it's never too late to change the rhythm of your nights. Robert's story is powerful, but what makes it even more important is this: he is not alone. There are thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who struggle with the same restless nights, the same groggy mornings, and the same belief that it's just aging. But it's not just age, it's habit. And habits can be reshaped. When one man makes that shift, it often sparks something bigger. I've seen it again and again. A husband tells his wife, "I started winding down without the TV, and I'm actually sleeping." A grandfather shares with his buddy at the golf course, "I quit the late-night snacks, and my mornings feel different." Another man encourages his church group, "Try putting the phone down before bed, you'll feel the change." That ripple matters. Because when men see their peers taking action, and actually feeling better, it gives them permission to try, too. And here's what I want you to hear: you don't have to fix your nights alone. This is a brotherhood. A community of men who are choosing to make the last 60 minutes of their day count. So here's my challenge to you: try the bedtime blueprint tonight. Then come back and share your story, right here in the comments. What worked for you? What felt different? What surprised you? Because your story may be the very spark that helps another man finally reclaim his rest. Together, we can break the cycle of restless nights. Together, we can build stronger, sharper, more energized mornings, one man, 1 hour, one choice at a time. So let's bring it all together. The last hour before bed isn't background time, it's the foundation of your tomorrow. Ignore it, and you carry stress, fatigue, and fog into the next day. Protect it, and you unlock deeper rest, sharper memory, steadier energy, and a stronger heart. I've seen it in Robert, in Tom, in countless men who thought restless nights were just part of getting older. They weren't. All it took was changing the rhythm of that final 60 minutes. And here's what I want you to remember: you are not too old, and it is not too late. Renewal is still within reach. Your brain, your body, and your heart are waiting for you to give them the chance to reset. So tonight, when the day winds down, make a different choice. Turn off the screens. Dim the lights. Breathe. Choose a simple habit that tells your body, it's safe, it's time to rest. Because the night doesn't just end your day, it builds your tomorrow. And tomorrow can be clearer, stronger, and more alive than you've felt in years. The best mornings begin the night before. Make this hour count.